Welcome to the Bluegrass State. I'm Heather Vitale for Harness Racing Update. One of the things that Lexington is known for is being the home to a University of Kentucky. And while college students are busy with classes on campus, here at Fasig-Tipton, horsemen and women are busy studying the Lexington Selected Yearling Sale catalog to find out which Standardbreds they think will make the grade. All right, Dave, everybody out here doing their homework. You know, what do we have, like over 900 yearlings in this sale?
Yeah, just a shade over 900, 920, 930 or something like that. We got glorious weather, and you know, it's great to be back in Lexington, as it always is, but we have 900 yearlings. It's going to be a great week, and it's going to be what it's going to be. I think it's going to be good, though.
How is the book looking? Because I see like there's some like triple eligibles, and we've got some first year sires.
First year sires, and you have some good freshman sires that were well represented as well. And yeah, so obviously everyone's well aware of the Kentucky program. So you have a lot of dual eligible. Like I think 70% of the sale is dual eligible, meaning Kentucky and somewhere else. And then there's going to be, you know, with preferred, we have the luxury of having some triple eligibles. So if they're eligible to the Kentucky program, they could be Pennsylvania and they could be Massachusetts. So Massachusetts is one of the keys, which is very good for the Northeast trainers. And truthfully, the national trainers have recognized that. We have a couple of Virginia breds this year, so that makes them triple eligible as well. They just had big finals there this weekend for $60,000 or $70,000. So it just gives a buyer just another little added incentive if they're interested in a horse. It might push them over the edge with that extra eligibility. Triple eligibles have worked well. Massachusetts Irish State start on Monday, and they go right through. You know, there's 2 or 3 legs and then a final. So, you know, going back to, you know, what I've always preached a little bit, you know, the purses drive the sales prices, and if you have a good offering, people are doing the homework, they're paying attention to that more than they were 5 years ago, and all good, and we're happy to represent, you know, whoever we represent, but the triple eligibles are always nice, dual eligibles are nice as well.
Yes. So we talk to you at the end of each session to do recaps, but I couldn't wait for any other time but now to congratulate you on being voted into Harness Racing's Hall of Fame. How cool.
Yeah, no, this is a great honor. You know what I'm saying? It's actually, you know, it's very humbling, whatever, but, you know, I've dealt with Hall of Famers all my life, which is great, and I always believe surround yourself with good people, and I'd like to say that, you know, all the Hall of Famers that I dealt with in the past made you a Hall of Famer, right? So happy to represent the industry. I think we try to do a quality job year in and year out, and yeah, it's good. And plus I get to join my late partner.
Oh, yes.
Jeff Stein, you know what I'm saying? And some of my closest friends, the Antonacci's and Chucky, and, you know, all these trainers that you've been representing for all these years. And it's a great honor, and I'm proud, and yeah, it's good.
Not only that, I see a baby here, another generation.
Yeah.
What's happening? And I do want to say that's one of the great things about being in horse racing and being at a sale. It's a big family deal. But tell me about the grandson.
I look pretty good for 40 and a grandfather, don't I? Yeah. That was my first grandson, our first grandchild, my wife and myself, and that's Brianna. And she got married a few years ago, and she lives in Alabama. So she drove from Alabama to Nashville, and she drove in this morning. She surprised me, so it's a nice little surprise. And it's his first sale. He's only 3 months old, so he's starting young. So now it's very nice. That's another great thing that's happened to our life, and it's everyone knows it. His grandchildren are great, and we're looking forward to the future with that for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Lots of exciting things happening in your life, and have a wonderful sale.
Yeah. No. Listen. You know, have everyone get out here. We got great weather. Get out here. Do your homework. It's a deep catalog, to you say. Sire power is strong. The mares are young. I think there's going to be, as I always say, do your homework. There'll be pockets in the sale. There's horses for every jurisdiction. Just, you know, get out here, work the grounds, watch the sessions, come back here. You know, Monday's only 120. Tuesday there's going to be 280 or 270. Just keep working during the week, and you know, the results for the sale speak for themselves. The quality here, I've heard good things from all the consigners and the people who come back and say, you know, there's a lot of horses on the whole grounds, whatever. Shop, do your work, and get ready to bid on Monday night and Tuesday, and we'll go from there, and you'll be tired of me by the end of the week, so you're in good shape. So.
Thank you, Dave, so much.
All right, thank you, guys.
Abby, Country Lane Standardbreds, this is the first year you guys are actually individual consignment, which is super exciting. So talk about how psyched you are about that, and why did you break out on your own?
Oh, we're super excited. So it used to just be Dwayne, the farm manager, and his son, Ryan. And then they hired me, and so we were kind of able to, extra person, made it a little bit easier to have your own consignment. And just giving it a whirl, and here we are. So we're super excited, though. Clearly we went all out. We got food set up and tried not to cut any corners.
Yeah, let's talk about the food a little bit. Like, came for the burgers, stayed for the horses, right? Especially the buns. Talk about the food. You guys, if you're hungry, this is the place to be.
Yeah, my mom, grandma, and my dad are all down here helping. So my mom and grandma, they worked in restaurants and stuff, and so that's their bread and butter. And I said, here you go, you can have at it and run with it. So they did.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you definitely will know what consignment you're at because the logo is literally on the hamburger bun, right?
Yes, yes. The hamburger buns, the burrito wraps for breakfast in the morning. I think it's on the pita chicken wraps as well. You're not gonna miss us.
So let's talk about Country Lane a little bit. Like, for those who don't know, they're not familiar with this farm, where are you guys located? How many broodmares do you have?
So we are in Wakarusa, Indiana, which is way northern Indiana. We're about 25, 30 minutes from Notre Dame University, so just south of the Michigan border. We've got about 30 mares at the moment. I think it's actually a little bit more. And most of them are at the farm. We have our mares that don't have foals on their sides. They're down in Kentucky right now, getting their residency, and then the mares that had babies this year are back home, and because I got the residency in the spring, so.
Now, you talked about Ola and Dwayne, and they hired you. Yep. So let's talk about you a little bit. What is your background?
My parents, hence why they're all here. It was very easy to convince them. We've had racehorses for, I don't know, 17, 18 years, something like that. And we started coming down here. I loved it. And I worked at Hanover, did the yearling prep there. I met Dr. J. She gave me a call about a year ago and said, hey, you're going to be getting a call from a guy named Dwayne Miller. And I said, okay. So, but yeah, tried to do a little bit of everything and just see where I ended up, and this is where I ended up, and it's a pretty good spot to be.
I know.
Good people, good place, can't complain.
Yeah, I know. You look thrilled to be working here. Now, let's talk about one horse that we can, sort of spotlight. We'll pick the first night.
The one that's getting probably the most attention the last 2 days is the Country Plunge. She's HIP 112. She's the second foal out of Plunge Blue Chip. Been in and out constantly, but there's a couple of them. They're all put a lot of work into them the last 3 weeks. Well, the last couple months, but they've been down here. They sent me with the 7 down here for 3 weeks beforehand to make them a little bit easier to look at for people.
You actually came here weeks ago then for people to look at the yearlings. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I got down here, I think September 7th, and then the horses came September 8th the next day. And so we were able to paddock and do all that jazz. So they've been down here for a couple weeks, and they shipped in, and all in one piece. So.
Well, best of luck. Your first year, doing this yourself. I love it. So have a great sale.
Yes, hopefully we will. Thank you.
All right, Shaun, the big question. Alliance Bloodstock. How did this come to be?
Yeah, I didn't realize we threw everybody for a loop. Everybody's super confused about it, but it is a simple story. Diamond Creek, last several years, has gotten to where they're selling as many horses for other people as their own. And at the same time, Bob was ready to kind of sunset and close the chapter on Northwood consign at public sales. And so very friendly with Bob always, and he brings a ton to the table. So it was just a natural, this makes too much sense not to try. And so far, I feel really good about it.
Yeah, let's talk about Bob. He really does bring a lot to the table. So how are you guys benefiting from that?
I think we learn by osmosis, just him being around and the experience level. And it's a good history lesson sometimes because a lot of us, our knowledge doesn't go back very far. And he can fill us in on who and what was going on prior to, the latest generation. And so it's really been invaluable. Appreciate it.
Okay, so where does Diamond Creek stand now? What's Diamond Creek doing?
Yeah, Diamond Creek's still doing all the same things, just not putting its name out there as a consigner at the public sales because we have this new brand alliance. And so Diamond Creek still does everything else, stallions, breeding, racing, the whole nine. And so really business as usual. It's just a new name. It's the same people you've always seen, plus Bob. And Ashley Bako came over from Northwood as well. She's an excellent show woman, and we're enjoying having her. And what it did for the public is it took two mid-level consigners, put them together to make them a large consigner. So we'll be probably, well, I know we're 80 head in Harrisburg for yearlings, and then we expect 150 mixed sale horses up there. So be a strong number 2 size-wise to preferred is how we see it.
So now then let's talk about Lexington and how many you have in this sale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe there's 53 total, and you know, everything from you know, the major states to the more regional areas. We kind of have something for everybody. Equally strong pacers to trotters, and you know, we really are super diverse. And so I think every shopper will have to stop here at some point this week.
Let's talk about one or two that you love and the buyers are looking at.
Yeah, everybody wants to know which horse to buy, you know, but for me, on the first day, we've got this unbelievable, smart, willing, classy colt by Sweet Lou. He's hip number 91. He's the first foal out of Lockbridge. It's the Bedroom Confessions family. I've been a super big fan of his. I've got an unbelievably fast Muscle Hill colt with a ton of leg and hip 180 that came from Diamond Creek, and the list goes on and on. I could go on forever, but just to tell you quickly, a couple colts that I really like would be those two. And then on the pacing side, you know, I'd have to go with, for me, there's this incredible athlete that's super agile that people should look out for in hip 342. Her video would be definitely one to key in on. And then, you know, the one that's been out of the barn the most might have the best maternal line of any filly in the sale on the pacing side, and that's the one out of Beach Gal. So you've got Maximus Mickey with his Canadian Pacing Derby and Hoosier Derby coming in, but that's also the sister to Ammo and Always a Mickey and so many others. And so Beach Gal's over here. It's a bulldog filly that's dark black, and everybody's really enjoying.
Right. Well, best of luck at the sale. And really, this is cool. It has thrown people for a loop, like you said, but exciting stuff when something new is happening in our sport.
It's important. Yeah, at least it's an icebreaker conversation starter. So I'm having fun with it.
Well, I'll see you soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Heather. Have a good day.
All right, Mark, let's start with the big question. How many horses are you going to take home from Lexington?
Well, I hope not too many. I'm trying to cut back a little bit. I'm getting up there a little bit. So, but if we went out of here with, you know, 3 or 4, I'd be real happy with that.
Well, how many do you have in training?
Right now, we've been selling off most of our older horse through like 3 turning 4. So I'm trying to cut the numbers down. But at the start of the summer, we probably had like high 40s.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, that's a real nice number. So if you're going to take home 3 or 4, are we looking at trotting fillies, colts, pacing colts? What do you want?
You know, for me, it's a lot easier if I can find anything in the way of Ontario breds, so it doesn't really matter there. But if I'm going to buy a U.S. bred, this year I'm kind of looking at more trotting colts and pacing colts.
When you have a horse come out of the stall, what are you looking at? I mean, what's most important, the bold type in your sale book or what they look like?
Well, the sale book usually leads you to pulling the horse out. So, you know, when they first come out, I'm looking at their head. I like a nice, smart head on them. But I like, you know, something that's not too small but not too big either.
How much work do you put into finding the horse? Do you actually go to the farm? Do you look at all the videos, or do you just kind of say, you know what, I want to see them when they're a little bit older and ready to go into the sales ring?
Well, actually, I do all 3. It's hard to find time when you're racing, and a lot of these farms for me are a long way away. But I try to visit as many farms as I can, and I like to get them turned out if I can. But the videos, you know, that's my next goal is if I can't get them turned out, I'll see the video and learn a lot from that. But, you know, I'll look at them there, and then when I get to the sale, I'll return and look at them again. So
do you have one tip, like for people that are just starting out looking at yearlings? Like, what advice would you tell them? Well, for an owner, I would say, you know, find the right trainer that you can trust. Somebody with a little knowledge and that's honest. And listen to him, and you know, he'll probably take you to where you need to be. What if you're a trainer just starting out and you're the one that's actually having to pick the horse for the owner? Yeah, well, a lot of hard work. Like, you know, as we just said, you know, looking at the videos and trying to get to the farm and stuff like that. You know, studying the pedigree. And then you got to match that all up with how much they're going to sell for. Now that is the important part right there. What is your budget? Like what do you usually buy? Like if you're taking home 3 or 4, do you think you're gonna get into the $100,000 range, or are you looking at 50?
I'll tell you the truth, I've been in the 100, I've even bought over 200, but I prefer, and I've had my better luck with probably the 60 and under. A lot of my better horses have been in that price range, and you know, we paid, I think it was 130 for Sylvia Hanover or something, like somewhere around there. But you know, if I can find something less than 100, I prefer that, as most would.
Yeah, right, exactly. Thank you so much, and best of luck at the sale.
Well, thank you, Heather. Yeah.
Doug Egloff, oh my goodness, you've been voted into Harness Racing's Hall of Fame. What an incredible honor.
Well, thank you very much. It was totally unexpected.
I mean, you must be like, he's playing it cool right now, but I know inside you're jumping around, right?
Well, it takes a lot to excite me at this point in my life. I've seen a lot of adventures.
You know, let's talk about an adventure. Actually, we were just talking about your Australia adventure, because obviously when you get voted into Harness Racing's Hall of Fame, you have an incredible resume. But one of the things that you've done is you actually went to Australia. You've worked worldwide with horses. So let's talk about that Australia story a little bit.
Well, when I went to Australia, I was working primarily with thoroughbreds, but I did have 2 standardbred farms that I did the work on. And I did the work at Widden Stud, which is the biggest thoroughbred farm in Australia and most famous. But yeah, it was quite an adventure, really. And I said, I think one of the things that got me famous over there, they had never seen anybody do a standing castration. Well, when I was in Lexington, if you couldn't do them standing, you didn't do them. So I started doing them, and I must have castrated more horses in Australia than the rest of my life, because everybody wanted me to do them, and they would call for their friends to come watch. And fortunately, they all turned out good.
You never thought this interview was going to go toward a castration story, did you?
You're talking to a veterinarian, so there's where it goes, yeah.
Let's talk about your wife, Judy, a little bit. You guys have been together since you were in high school.
Correct, right. And she dropped out of college, and we got married when I got accepted to vet school. Then she worked while I was in school, because we didn't have much money. And anyway, so she helped put me through school. And as I told you, when we got out of school, I was lucky enough to get to go to Hager Davidson McGee in Lexington. So that was quite a break. But once I was working at Lane Bell, and all 3 of our kids were in school, I would get up and leave early in the morning, and she would get the kids off school. And when I got home at the kids got home at 3 o'clock, she was there. But in the meantime, she had been off working on her degree. She ended up getting a master's degree. And as I told you, she counseled abused women and abused children for 20-something years. That's her, always trying to help somebody else. So she's pretty special.
Yes. Very, very special. Actually, I just want to add this too. Rumor has it that when Judy came to high school, you told everybody, do not look at this girl, she's mine. Is that right?
Something like that, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the sale now. We'll get back to business. How many do you have in the sale, and what days are you selling?
We have 9 in the sale, and we're selling on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Okay.
Yep.
Let's spotlight one that you really love, one that's coming out of the stall. People are really taking a fancy to.
Well, I think Quantico, number 216, he's quite a standout. Our Captain Treacherous filly is also extremely nice, 215. And we don't bring any mutts here to Lexington. I mean, every horse here is a good horse. And so we've had quite a few lookers already, and hopefully we're going to get through this all right.
All right. Well, best of luck during the sale, and thank you, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much. Okay, thanks, Heather.
Thank you so much for watching our pre-sale feature from Lexington. Now, for the first 2 sessions of the sale, we're doing things a little bit differently this year and bringing you the action live. So if you want to check out the live broadcasts from session 1 and 2, all you have to do is go to the Harness Racing Update website or the newsletter, and you can find the links there. I'm Heather Vitale for HRU.